Hey, how's it going everyone? Today we're here with the brand new S.H Monsterarts Godzilla 2016, the 4th Night Combat version. Actually, is this the 4th version for Shin Godzilla? We have base, 4th form, Frozen, Godzilla Store exclusive. Yeah, so no, 5th form. 5th release for Shin Godzilla. They're definitely getting their money's worth out of this mold, but this one is actually really nice looking. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. But we'll get a close look at the finish in a moment. So one extra thing for this release, actually 2 releases in Japan. We have the normal retail release, which is what we have here. And then today in Japan we had the Shin Japan Heroes Amusement World event open up to kind of celebrate the obviously Shin Godzilla, Shin Ultraman, Shin Kamen Rider, the movie which is just coming out, and also even gaming, because it's all done by the same guy. So they've got a really cool and Ikebukuro at the Bandai Namco area, VR games, mini games, all that for the Shin Kamen Rider and other Shin series. And for that they had a lottery for a special edition release for the figures. We had Shin Godzilla, Ava, Ultraman and Kamen Rider as well. And those releases exactly the same, but it came with the slip cover, which can just slip on over the box. I won't put it on there because it's actually really tight for this box here, but yeah, I do want to show it out. It looks really cool. It's got the logo for the event, nice embossing on it, highlighting the 4 main characters being showcased at the event. And then we have Shin Godzilla written on the side there, and nice embossed text, and same on the other side here with image of the figure itself. And then again, the text, it feels so nice. I wish you could come and feel it as well, but it has that slightly raised up white shiny text on it. And then same for the side, we've got the nice kind of polka dot Shin Godzilla with a nice white colour. But yeah, that's it for the extra cover. The figure itself exactly the same. The only thing you are getting is obviously the extra packaging. If you are in Japan, it is lottery. Jump on the website, you may be able to get one later on. The event goes until May. Anyway, jumping into the figure itself, a nice presentation for the figure on the box with Shin Godzilla underneath, though he does go by Godzilla 2016 as the official name, so just keep that in mind. If you do see that written online you get a bit confused, that is why. On the side we've got a nice section of images showcasing the figure, and then on the back we've got that nice clear window look into the figure itself. But yeah, the other side is pretty basic, underneath the usual information. So anyway, let's just pop it out and get a closer look at the overall finish. Actually, one small thing I do want to point out is they've upgraded the plastic for this one. The original full form release and the Frozen one, the plastic was a lot thinner. This one is definitely thicker and holds its shape a bit better. So in terms of storage or long-term travel or transportation, a bit safer. Okay, so out of the box, on the turntable here, and as it swings around, you'll definitely be able to notice the nice bright red spots that come throughout the body. I don't have the original release. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I can't remember the main difference. But from memory, the original was more of a base, darker colour. So this one does remind me slightly of it. However, it has a lot of punchy, kind of translucent red areas that come through. That definitely brings this figure to life. If you can see as he swings around, the mouth has a beautiful kind of metallic-y red colour. The translucent parts down his neck, through the spines, you can see the light coming through, illuminating those spine spikes, yeah, which looks really cool. And same for the tail down here. If you get a bright light on these, we'll definitely be able to exaggerate the red colour a lot more than what you can probably see here. It's definitely a really nice finish. It does have that kind of very premium or event exclusive feel to it, considering a lot of the it was SDCC, like Dragon Ball Figure Arts and other series like that, they often have those translucent parts to them. The tail itself is basically the same as the 4th form, however, so purple is rare, so I don't really see too much difference there. The main areas for me though is the colouring of the mouth, and then all the spine and the translucent parts, and definitely looks nice. And on top of that, we have a lovely colouring of the claws there. It has that kind of base, kind of ivory look with the darker shades applied on top. Now, in terms of articulation, if you have any one of the other forms, I don't think you'll notice any difference since it is the same mould. Let's put them off the turntable here though. And if we start from the top here, for those that may not have one of these figures at all, the mouth has a nice wide range of articulation that can open up. And then same from the neck, you have some nice swivel action going on. But this figure has fantastic articulation in the midsection. As we can see here, you can swivel all the way down and forward. We can do the direct attack to the ground, which is awesome. Everything feels really nice, swivels around, each of the main parts move beautifully together to give that wide range of articulation. Now same for the shoulder joint here. While it is an oval, we do get a little bit of motion up and down, and it can swivel as well. You do have to be a bit more, I guess, vigorous with this joint. It's a bit hard to get some good traction on it, but once you do, you can kind of get a nice range there. Especially when combined with his itty bitty arms, you do get a bit more motion there, and same with the elbow joint. The wrist itself is pretty basic. We may just got the swivel on there with a little bit of tilt action. Nothing too major though, but actually one thing you may be able to see actually though, bit of the light, you can see how his arm is also slightly translucent, which is really awesome. It gives it a menacing look to it. Now coming down to the thighs, his legs will swivel up and around as well. Again, great range of motion as well as going in and out. You can definitely pose them really well. The knees are a bit more limited, though you do get a decent, what's it, about 5 or 10 mil of motion going straight and turning back. A little amount of pivot, nothing too major, but the feet are pretty decent though. Again, a little bit more of a pivot and a swivel, and you can get most of the poses that you're after in a natural looking manner. Now the tail is always one of my favourite parts for these Shin figures. That is because it has some good girth and it's very long and flexible. Each one of the points here allows for it to move around in a very natural looking manner. You get some nice curvature going on with that. In this case, the red tip there, which again you can see the light coming through it beautifully. So yeah, I mean, if you have any of the other Shin figures, no real surprises here. It is definitely exactly like the others in terms of articulation from what I can see so far. No real changes to the sculpt or articulation there. So no, Shin Godzilla Monsterarts review would be complete without a colour comparison, and we have the Night Combat version here on the left, which is the brand new one, and then we've got the Full Form Awakening, and then the Frozen Godzilla with that fantastic tail with some crazy tormented detailing there with all the skulls and human folk just peeling off it. Now the Godzilla store one I believe was the exact same colour as the Frozen one, just with a normal tail. Now while the Awakening one does have that translucent colour in the spines as well, I do feel like it is slightly more noticeable with the red tones, especially when you kind of get some bright light there. The tails as well, with a bit of light it comes through a bit more peachy, otherwise it's quite a muted colour on the Awakening, but the red really pops out whether or not you have light there or not for the tail. So I think the overall main difference between obviously the new one and the Awakening one is just the tonal difference between having the red and the purple. I feel like the purple just kind of blends in and mixes with the dark colours a bit more in the legs and body, whereas on the new one the red comes through a bit more vibrantly. I'm not sure if it's because they use more colouring there for it, or if it's just because the purple just gets washed away a bit more. But overall, both look fantastic. I do feel the eyes pop out a lot more on the new one. We definitely see the white pupils on the eyes there, whereas on the Awakening one is a lot more subtle. Now, yeah, that comes to the pros and cons for the new release. Starting with the con, I mean, if you have these other two, do you really need another Shin Godzilla version? I mean, it is pretty hard to, you know, if you have Awakening and you have a Frozen which has that fantastic tail, I do feel like it's a little bit hard to justify getting the other one here. But personally I love the colour red and orange, so I was really drawn to this model, and especially since I had access to the lottery here in Japan and I just happened to win that one, so that's why I grabbed that version. Now there's no other accessories. Some accessories would have been quite nice. The working one has some really cool ones, especially since this is called Night Combat version. You know, combat, having some type of blast there would be cool. Now in terms of the pros, it's an easy access for Shin Godzilla. This guy especially has gotten ridiculously expensive. I think he is up around the 30,000 yen mark in Japan. I know overseas he is pretty hard to come by as well these days. Same for basically all the versions, and he is one of the fan favourites, at least from what I've been able to see. Everyone who's picked him up has definitely loved this figure due to the articulation, sculpting and the motion and the tail, and this one definitely delivers in all of that. So if you don't have any other version, this I feel like is a must get for any Monsterarts or Godzilla fans. The red really works well with the translucent colours. It's really nice if you run a light over it, it really pops. The extra detailing on the eye for it to stand out, that metallic-y colour in the mouth as well is fantastic. But I can just, come back to that con, a blast, something to match up with that colour would have been amazing. Alas, very basic release, just a figure itself, so that is definitely my main con. But yeah, definitely let me know in the comments below what you think about this release. If you have the other Shin Godzilla releases, do you want this one? Did you pre-order it? Is that, you know, one of the limiting factors why you didn't get it if you have passed? But yeah, I would really like, I mean, it'd be nice to see the second and, you know, Kamata-kun as well, and third form re-release for the initial Shin Godzilla as a special colour version in the future, to give more options for the other figures from the Shin Godzilla movie, because they were really cool. But yeah, that is it for the review. Thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions, do drop a comment below. There'll be more photos on Rockchala, and also on Instagram. If there's anything that I missed, please let me know, and I can always touch up on it and check out some photos online later covering those points. So yeah, again, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, cheers!